So we've come on to the assignment discussion, and we've just got the assignment discussion brief in front of us for the assessment process for effective health and social care. Now, it just goes in the same order that you've seen with all the other assignments, your learning outcomes and assessment criteria, and then your tasks. So I'm going to go on to a PowerPoint where I've just split everything up a little bit easier to use. So I won't go through the useful tips section because you're laying out your work perfectly fine. Your referencing is fantastic as well. So let's go on. Now, for the assessment of this, there are 2 tasks in this assignment, and they're both a written report. So just both on the same Word document. So the scenario. So on here, you are employed at a Sandy Bay, at a company called Sandy Bay. And this is a social care setting. So due to the need for increased business, individuals with different care needs have been admitted. So staff are not familiar with some aspects of their care needs, so need to be advised about assessment methodologies to ensure needs are fully met. So because Sandy Bay wants more business, they've had different care with patients come in that have got different styles of care that they need, but the staff don't really know much about this, so you need to make some documents or some training to tell them about the different assessments that can be done. So coming back onto here, you are required to research information and guidance to inform staff, putting this together for use in induction and training. So again, this is a scenario you're just going to be referred, whenever you talk about a care home or something, rather than saying in care homes this happens, just say things like at Sandy Bay we do this, at Sandy Bay we do that, you know, just refer to them once every while throughout your assignment.
Yeah.
Or
What
even
does
if...
methodologies mean? What does methodologies mean? Just different methods?
Different type of methods. They're just making it into a longer word. So what different ways are assessments carried out?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if because sometimes I know when we start writing assignments, we forget about these things. So if you put an introduction at the top and you talk about Sandy Bay there, and you forget to talk about it further down, that'll be okay because at least you've mentioned it at the top.
I'll write a big massive note saying, make sure you write Sandy Bay.
Sandy Bay everywhere. Yeah. So for task 1, you need to put information and guidance, and this should include, number 1, an explanation of the purposes of different assessment models. So that's 1.1. Question 2 is a description of the purpose of assessment tools available to be used at Sandy Bay. That's 1.2. And 3 is how to use person-centered ways of working to support individuals to participate in the assessment processes. That's 2.1. 4, how to undertake an assessment. That covers 2.2. And 5, when to use the referral process for individuals. That's 2.3. Now, if you just go back into the PowerPoints, the basic information is actually there. So make sure that you're covering some of the points within the PowerPoints. You can reword it. You can do a bit more research on the internet if you want, you know, personalize it a little bit. But get those basic points in and then add other points in. So obviously make sure you already know this, but make sure you're covering your indicative content at the bottom of the spec sheet. Excuse me. So I just had a tickle in my throat then. So the word count on this is about 2,500, and it covers all of learning outcome 1 and 2. And task 2 is to prepare a staff briefing, which includes, so this has got a couple of questions. So number 1, how to develop a care plan. That covers 3.1. 2, how to evaluate the effectiveness of the assessment process and outcomes. That covers 3.2. 3, how to develop an action plan to address any changes following an assessment review. That's for 3.3. And then 4, an assessment of staff understanding of the impact of assessments on individuals and their families. And that's 4.2. So what they want you to do, so what OTHM wants you to do is to use examples from real work practices. So if you've not got the real work practice, or you've not got an example that you've seen in and around your centre, then just use something from the media, or ask a few people some questions, do some research, but try and use work practices that you've done. Now, like I said, it doesn't have 4.1 on here. That's because 4.1 says to formally instruct your staff members or your colleagues of how to do assessment processes. The fact that you're creating this assignment is you, in effect, covering 4.1 by answering all these different questions within it. So you won't physically need to do any writing for 4.1. So don't get worried if you see it, if you don't, see it in here.
Can I put an image on it instead?
Yeah, that'll be fine. You can do. Yeah, it's something like a leaflet or something that'll help. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll just cross-refer it. Whatever you decide to put down, I'll cross-refer it to the whole assignment itself when I'm marking. So the overall word count, word count, not world count, is 500, and this will cover the rest of the tasks, which is learning outcome 3 and 4. So in total, you're going to get a pass grade, just the same sort of process we've been going through all thing. So task 1 is 2,500. So 2,500, and task 2 is 500. So a more or less a total word count of 300. 3,000. Oh my goodness. So on here, I know that you like to personalize your work, which is fantastic, but just make sure that you've covered the basic points first, and then add in a couple of paragraphs that will have your thoughts and opinions within it. Just make sure you've covered all the nitty-gritty bits that OTHM want you to do. Yep. So your presentation, continuing the way you're doing, is perfectly fine. And again, when you submitted your work, send it to Learner Work. You can CC me into it as well, which is what you normally do. And then I'll get feedback to you like normal within a couple. But just make sure that whatever you're doing for references-wise, make sure that you're adding in the correct references so that we've not got too much of a high similarity or too much of a high plagiarism. So you'll have 2 weeks to do this, and what date is it today? It's the 30th. Find my calendar. I can't think that far forward. So 1, 2. So by the 7th of October, if you can get it in and around that date, then that'll be great.
What, in a week?
Is that the week? I can't even read calculators these days. Oh, no. Ignore me, please. Not a week. 14th. Thank you. It's a good thing you pointed that out. Yes, the 14th, please. Yeah. Stop recording.